I like the sound of that. Well, it is now time for Ask the Expert, and a couple of dating websites are using great credit scores to match mates.
Yeah, this is interesting. Here we have to talk about it is our financial person, and the impact of what this is all about. He's a certified financial planner, Tony Drake, from wealthwisconsin.com. Now, Tony, in the past, a credit score was only used by financial institutions.
Are now your fiance, maybe.
Really? Do we have to go through this before we get married, or just before we get dated?
What's your name? What's your sign? What's your credit score?
Right.
You know, it used to be, you know, renters. It's a really important score. It's important to keep on top of it. You know, landlords are using it to vet renters nowadays. Employers are using it, and now dating websites are using it to connect people with similar scores.
Okay, what did our parents do before this? There wasn't a website to get a credit score. I mean, in order for you to make sure that your suitor was suitable for you and responsible with his money, I mean, what did we do before this? I mean, it's just odd.
Yeah, it is odd. You know, I think it's different. I think if you think of the meaning behind it, it makes a little bit more sense. It was about communication before, I think, and nowadays people are concerned. They're thinking about buying houses and you know, making purchases down the road, and that score is so important nowadays. We actually have a compatibility test you can take if you're concerned about this with you and your partner at our website.
Wow. Yeah. So when, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to jump, because I guess you already have someone. Okay, so my question is, when do you have this discussion, and what do you say?
Well, you know, I actually read an interesting study this week. They said some people are asking on the first date, so probably not appropriate there.
What's your credit score? I mean, some people, I don't even think my son would know his credit score.
That's right. But it is important to know it, and it is something you can get a free credit report once a year. We also have a link to that service at our website, wealthwisconsin.com. But it's important to talk about it early.
Well,
what are some leading cause in relationships or divorce?
I think so, because you got your spenders and you got your savers, so you want to make both of you are on the same page.
You can listen to some Dave Ramsey.
So what are some of the things that that you have to watch out for? Here are the conversation starters.
Yeah, you certainly have to look at debt. You know, there's some, like you said, some people are spenders, some people are savers. It's important to get your hands around that debt, and spending habits are very important. If you have a spender, someone who's a saver, you certainly have to find that balance. Another recent survey showed us over half of women admit to lying about debt and what they're spending to their spouse. Almost half of men do that as well. So you have to look at that. You have to be financially responsible. I always talk to my clients about sharing some of that. Typically, one of the two in the couple say, you know, Tony, I don't want to get involved in the finances. But I say, you know, let's just keep you posted what's going on so you feel aware of what's happening in the relationship financially.
So what do you do if you want to join one of these sites, but your credit score is less than ideal?
Yeah, that's certainly.
Can you improve it?
Absolutely. Lots of things you can do to improve it. First thing is knowing your score. We talked about getting that free report once a year. Important to know your score. You also want to look for errors. Believe it or not, 1 in 5 credit reports do have an error. So it's important to look through that and get that stuff cleaned up. And a lot of your score is going to be based on what's called your debt ratio. So how much of your available debt are you using? Certainly want to try to keep your credit cards under 30%, total debt under 10% is important.
And even like if you're opening up new credit cards or canceling credit cards, will that have an impact?
Yeah, real misconception there. It's important to keep those cards active. Even if you're not using them, it's going to really help your score if you keep those open.
So Tony, what is the magic score I should be looking for when I have
What's your
this
love number?
Yeah, what is my love number?
If you want Mr. Perfect, it's 850. But
850.
Probably a little unrealistic for most. Anybody above 700, 750 is going to be a great match for you.
850, that may be like the second time around.
Tony, this was really good information. We appreciate that.
Thank you guys for having me.
Well, if you got a question for our experts, email them at asktheexpert@today'stmj4.com. You can also leave a voicemail. That number is right there on your screen, 967.